Hi, my name is Nathan Morse, and here is my presentation on Everyday Counts case study for the AEP 858 Data Analysis and Assessments course. Okay, Section 1, report the case. Who? Mr. Rhodes. That's who I'm going to be in this case, the principal, first year at Golden Oak High School, working alongside Dr. Newman, who's the superintendent. He is brought to my attention as the new principal here that our attendance rate is on a record decline. I have done my calculations. We have 659 students who have missed over 2 weeks worth of school in this fall semester. That's roughly 68% of our student population. So, what am I going to do to improve the attendance rate? Investigate 5 students who have exceeded the 10 days this fall semester. So, our first case here is Karen. She's a junior. Um, During her first 2 years at the high school, she has shown great work ethic in her grades. Her sophomore year, she was selected to the National Honor Society, and this last semester, she has had some absences on Mondays and Fridays, sometimes both days. It's been periodic throughout the semester, and therefore, her grades are dropping, and she's missing one major midterm. We've got Tyrone. He's a sophomore. He's another one of our students who's on our honors program. He has 14 absences. Father has called into his homeroom teacher. Um, the reason for so many days is there was 1 week Tyrone and his family went to Washington, D.C. Mom was there for a business trip, but Dad wanted to make it aware that, hey, that there was some educational value. And then the second week that Tyrone missed, he went to Canada. Dad vouched that Tyrone would make up the work. So, Homer teacher obliged and reported that these absences were excused. Christina, freshman, missed 4 days in a row on 3 separate occasions. Her reasons for missing and being excused was she's involved with the church and the minister has asked her to attend some meetings. Algebra teachers requested to meet with the parents to conference about the 2 exams Christina has missed. Carl, he's a sophomore. He's taking regular uh, education classes as well as vocational classes. He has been referred to a truant officer for missing a lot of days randomly. The truant officer did a home visit, met with Dad. Uh, Dad told the officer that it wasn't the school's business to know why Carl is not in school, and also mentioned that he did not finish high school and Carl may be going down that path and just going right to work. And then our fifth case is John. He's a junior this year. He's going to be the starting quarterback for the football team. Uh, he got injured during a preseason scrimmage right before the season. Doctor told him he needed physical therapy if he wanted to continue to play. Physical therapy is going to be 2 times a week during the afternoons. Our AD is a very well-known figure and most likely supports the football team because he's been known to win some championships in the past. And he had decided that John should be excused Friday afternoons so he can rest before the games. Section 2. Report legal and ethical issues. Has anyone been harmed by the actions or decisions of another, and in what way? Everyone involved is creating harm, especially to all the students. We are telling our students that it's okay not to follow the rules and nothing will be done. All stakeholders involved are not setting the students up for success in the workforce, more so setting them up for a failed future. Does the action or situation contravene existing law? All stakeholders are at fault for violating the code of ethics and not adhering to the state and district policies, as noted in the 5 cases presented. Was there a breach of contract? Were the actions discriminatory or constituted harassment? There was a breach in contract among the stakeholders. The athletic director excusing an athlete in the afternoon before Friday night games, that could also be considered a discriminatory action. One parent disregarding the responsibility for making sure the child reports to school. And then we had teachers who failed to report absences and or wrote them off as excused absences, which were not in accordance with the school or district policy. Section 3, synthesize the case. So here's my one sentence. Reflecting on the analysis of the 5 students, it has become apparent that the attendance policy is not fully supported by all stakeholders, which could result in the school being placed on probation for the gradual decline in attendance and academic achievement. Well, let's synthesize the facts. Okay, well, there's myself, Principal Rose. We have Dr. Newman, who's working alongside me. We have the counselor, the student body, AD, parents, and community. And this is all taking place here at Golden Oak High. We're in a suburban community. Last few years, we have gained some diversity in our student population with Hispanics and Asians. And then we have experienced teachers on our staff that have been here for 10 plus years. We do offer 30 different activities and clubs here at the high school, 11 different sports teams. We offer regular education courses along with dual credits for vocational courses at our local college, and we do have an honors program. We are a standard public high school, 9th through 12th grade. Okay, section 5, let's prioritize the information. Could the conflict, the situation, or the decision be damaging to stakeholders or to the community? In such an urban environment with small businesses, students would be entering the workforce with no respect for responsibility and accountability. The school building would be providing a disservice for students if they do not have structure. We all know kids need structure. Kids want to know what the consequences will be for their actions, and so we got to set those parameters and follow through with the consequences that are set forth, but not just for our kids, but the stakeholders included. Okay, what individual groups have an important stake in the outcome? Well, all stakeholders, administration, teachers, parents, students, and community, are held responsible for the inconsistency for upholding the district policy regarding the attendance rate. Have all the relevant stakeholders been consulted? What we have here is a failure to communicate among all stakeholders. Communication is vital in resolving the issue for the declining attendance rates. Everybody needs to know and understand what the policy states and know what the consequences will be for not being responsible and accountable. Can I learn more about the situation? As a new principal, I would want to know more about the feelings regarding the student attendance policy and understand the values and beliefs among the stakeholders. Do I know enough to make a decision? There is enough information for me to communicate among the staff members, the athletic director, and counselor, to address the steady decline in attendance. Collaboration must take place once we return for the second semester to reinforce what the policy states and how it needs to be handled moving forward. Additional information is needed to understand the demographics and perceptions among the community and parents. Okay, let's identify the options and possible outcomes. Okay, 1, I could do nothing. Well, what are the results? Well, we will continue the trend of excused absences that do not adhere to the state and local attendance policy. Option 2, require a mandate for stakeholders to follow through with the attendance policy. My perception of option 2 here is I'm going to be persistent and be firm and kind of have a dictator personality with this. So I think this could turn things around and improve the attendance rate. Option 3, create any incentives for following the policy. Result, maybe I'll create some intrinsic motivation for our students to be in school. And obviously, if they're in school, their grades will improve. The main thing is we want kids to be in school. All right, now let's evaluate those options. Option 1, do nothing. Pros, I guess if I do nothing about it, I don't expect to get much flack from anybody. Everyone's just happy. Okay. The con would be, well, I'm probably going to get stressed because the one person that I'll have conflicts with is the superintendent. So I'm probably looking at losing my administrative position and damage my reputation among the other administrators in the district. Option 2, require a strict mandate. Okay, well, as I mentioned before, most likely turn things around and improve the attendance rate, but at least I think I'll have a secure job. Negative might be on how I go about doing that with some firmness and persistence and maybe have an authoritative presence about it. I'm probably going to create tension among stakeholders. And then in doing so, that's going to create an unstable learning and working environment. So, option 3, create incentives. I think with incentives, I'd be looking at building relationships with my students and staff members. The negative thing about it is sometimes those incentives, they don't motivate anybody. So, fortunately, I may not get them all. So option 8, choosing the best option. Well, I don't necessarily think that option 3 is the best, but I do believe it's going to be the most effective approach to addressing the issue. I feel this is the best option to improve the morale of the stakeholders concerning the attendance policy. I want all stakeholders to understand that I want what is best for the students, and I'm willing to work with them as I hope they are willing to work with me. I believe having an incentive for improving the attendance rate will encompass all stakeholders, thus creating that positive rapport with myself as the principal and the parents. How do I go about implementing this decision? So as I mentioned, that once we return from winter break, okay, I'm going to have an immediate faculty meeting. We're going to discuss the attendance policy um, and how I feel like how we need to enforce it with our students. And so I'm going to give them 2 weeks to show me that they're on board with that and what the expectations are. And during those 2 weeks, I want to conduct some surveys on the demographics of our families and our students and get the perceptions of everybody involved. And then after those 2 weeks, I want to present this to the students about the incentive to the attendance policy. And so here's how I'm going to incorporate this. Okay, so look to create an incentive for students. So my incentive here is going to be exempting one final. So if you notice here, I kind of have 3 tiers. And with this attendance rate are the percentages that you see on the left. Okay, I still have that there is an academic accountability. So if you're really working hard and you've missed some days, and even 94% I think is just a good relative number, I think you've earned the right to miss some days and still exempt the final as long as you got an A in the class. So if you have a B in a class, notice that my attendance rate is going to be higher. I'm expecting you to be here a little bit more, 98%. Okay, if you got a 98% or higher, then you can for sure exempt from a class with an A or a class with a B, but it's only one class. And then, you know what, if you're here every single day and the best you can give is a C, then guess what? I'll let you exempt out of a final as long as you have a C in the class. If we exceed the 3 personal days and or the 5 unexcused absences, I'm going to enforce lunch detentions, after-school detentions, and potentially, if you are a student who's in activities, be on the ineligibility list until the time is made up. So I'm going to modify and delete the point deduction that is currently in our attendance policy. And then as we look into the demographics and perception, so after probably midway through the third 9 weeks, I want to look and analyze the data, and then I hope to address any areas of concern. So if all else fails, what is plan B? Well, plan B would be this. Continue to observe and collect data as needed to formulate a new strategy. Continue to make it important for all staff members to adhere and reinforce the attendance policy as written. And then the third thing I think I can do is send out weekly reminders to parents, whether that's social media or potentially, a letter I can send home to them to emphasize potential assessments coming up. And so if I make those known, that should reinforce the importance for their child to be in school. So this is my presentation on the Everyday Counts. Once again, my name is Nathan Morse, and thank you for watching.